Hey guys, Charlene Ortiz here, and welcome to your training session today. We're going to do some floor exercises that are going to be real simple and easy for you to perform. And I'm going to be using just a basic yoga mat as well as my little exercise ball today. And I'm also going to be using one of my tubing. If you have a resistor band that is just the flat, straight band, you can also use that as well. And so if you don't have these pieces of equipment, you might want to check out my video, How to Build Your Own Home Gym for Under $50. And there are links on there where you can purchase this equipment, and they're real inexpensive. And if you don't have a yoga mat, you can just use a towel or as long as you're comfortable on the floor and it has enough cushioning where you can do your exercises and you feel comfort. And I'm also using just a small pillow, and this is going to help to keep my neck in a neutral position while I'm doing the movements, because sometimes when we have a lot of tightness in the upper back and our neck, we might have a tendency throughout when we lay down for our neck to go back just a little bit like that. So we just want to avoid that and use the pillow to keep our neck in a nice neutral position. All right, so these exercises are going to be a great way just to get started before you begin your day. And for those of you that want to do some type of activity, some type of movement first thing in the morning before you go to work or whatever activities you have planned, but you're not quite ready to go out and start walking, maybe your knees are kind of weak, or your hips, your back just aren't quite ready for that, or you're bedridden and because of any type of disability or limitation, but you still want to do some type of movement, but you're not in a place where you can sit up or stand. If you are suffering from severe limitations, illnesses, disabilities, then you want to make sure that you clear with your doctor first before beginning any exercise program. No matter how simple it is, you still want to make sure that you're okay for exercise. And so also, because I know for myself, with my fibromyalgia, the mornings are really, really difficult for me, especially when it's time to get out of bed. And sometimes it can feel like there's like 1,000-pound weight holding me to the bed. And so this might, for those of you that have really difficult mornings because you have some type of chronic illness or even depression or what have you because you don't sleep at night, these exercises might be a great way just to get your body warmed up and moving before you even get out of bed. And again, they're real low-key exercises. They're not high intensity. So they'll be a really great alternative with little to no impact, again, just to get your muscles warmed up, your blood circulating, and to get you moving and wake you up a little bit before your day begins. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our exercises. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and lay down, and I just want to show you an easy way that you can lay down that might reduce some stress on your lower back and just help to keep you from pulling any muscles or cause any unnecessary discomfort. So what I'm doing, I'm kind of just scooting to the side, and I'm using this arm right here and this arm to slowly lower me onto the floor. And then from here, I'm just rotating until I'm facing the ceiling. And so for this first movement, we're going to use our little exercise ball. And this movement, some of you may be very familiar with this movement. We're going to be doing some bridging, where we're just going to be lifting our hips up towards the ceiling. And I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you can do it. And I would like to use the resistor ball just because it will get you to activate your inner thighs as well as your real lower abdominal muscles. And so let's go ahead and put our ball in between the knees, and I'm going to demonstrate how to do the movement properly. When you're lifting up towards the ceiling, you do want to make sure that the pressure is primarily through the heel of your foot. What that will do is it will naturally cause your glute muscles to engage. You may also feel your hamstring muscles engaging as well. And with this movement, only go up as high as what feels comfortable for you. And if you can go up a really good distance, you don't want to go too high where your back is arched, because remember, that takes us out of neutral spine. So even though we're laying down, we still need to make sure that we're maintaining our neutral spine and we're not arching our back or doing any inappropriate movements. And I'm also keeping my belly button pulled in. My transverse abdominis is still activated regardless, even though I'm laying on the floor, we're still consciously activating that transverse abdominis. And so again, make sure you're squeezing the ball while you're doing your movement, and that's going to help to get the inner thighs and some of the real lower abdominal muscles to engage. Okay? And I'm going to show you another way to do the movement too, and then I'll do a set just to demonstrate for you guys how I'd like you to perform these at home. Okay, so if that's way too easy for you, another way that you can do it is unilateral, where you're doing one leg at a time, and that certainly is more difficult. And so for this position, I have my clients pull their feet in a little bit closer to their butt, as long as it doesn't hurt your knees, and bring the feet a little bit more together, as opposed to with the bilateral, two legs, our feet are about hip width apart. So we'll bring the feet together, and then keeping one leg elevated just slightly, you're going to go ahead and just lift your hip up into the air and then release. Again, the pressure is staying through the heel of the foot. Now, it is not uncommon for people to feel their hamstrings spasm if they have really tight hamstrings while they're performing one leg at a time. And to help avoid that, again, keeping the foot in close to the glute, because the further away your foot is from your body, the more stress you're going to feel on your glute. So if you keep the foot in close to your glute, it's going to help to take some of the stress off the hamstring, and the glute will engage a little bit more, and also push through the heel of that foot, and that will also help. If your hamstring does start to cramp up, you can just do a little hamstring stretch just to loosen it up a little bit. And so usually if you have that issue, it does go away with time as you practice and as you keep stretching your hamstring just to loosen it up. All right, so let's begin with the bilateral movement where we're doing two legs at the same time. And we're going to do 10 repetitions. And just like everything else, the standard will always be 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. Okay, so let's begin. Lifting our hips up in the air, and we're keeping the pressure through the heel of the foot as we're doing our movement. We're not coming up too high because, again, we don't want that excessive lordotic curve. That's a major no-no. So we want to make sure that it stays in neutral no matter how high we go, that we stop right where our neutral is, regardless of how high your range of motion is. And again, I'm squeezing that ball so I can keep that inner thigh engaged and also those real lower intra-abdominal muscles, and I'm keeping the pressure through the heel of the foot as I'm doing the movement. And let's just do a couple sets focusing on breathing. As you lift up, you'll breathe out, release, breathe in. When we're lifting, this is the contraction phase of the movement. When we're lowering, it's the release phase. So remember, contraction phase, you breathe out. Release phase, you breathe in. Okay, just like that. And for those of you who want to do this for one leg at a time, again, you're going to make sure your feet are together, and you'll just go ahead and lift your hips up towards the air. And I'm just going to do 5 on each side, and just for the sake of time, but typically you would want to do 10 on each side. But this is how you would perform this at home. And then we'll just go right to the other leg. Another thing I want you to watch out for is how level your hips are, because it's very common for people to let their hips kind of fall to the side that's not supported. So that's why I'll often recommend that my clients keep their hands on their hips and first get into the level position so you can feel where that's at. And then when you begin that movement, you can feel if it dips. And then you know, okay, I need to adjust and bring my hips back into, back into its neutral plane. Okay, so those exercises again, with the small ball bilateral, 3 sets of 10 to 15 to begin your day. The second exercise, maybe you can start with 5 repetitions if you want to. If you want to do 3 sets of 5 and then progress on to 10, because they are significantly more difficult. So if you want to start with that, that's okay. All right, our next movement is going to be for our upper body. And so I'm going to use my tubing right here. And for this movement, you want to make sure that the arm that is performing the movement is almost straight but has just a slight bend. And this movement is going to be engaging your rear deltoid, this muscle right here, as well as your rhomboids and also your trapezius muscle. And so the rear deltoids, along with the rhomboids, are another muscle that contribute to bringing your shoulder blades back and together, helping you to get into a neutral spine position. And over time, as you strengthen it, helping you to stay in that position because the muscles that contribute to it are now strong enough to hold you there. So that's why I love this exercise, because the rear deltoid is definitely a very important muscle for our be able to maintain neutral spine. This arm is just straight out to the side, and go ahead and grab the tubing where it feels like it's a good challenge for you, it's a good resistance. And this is just kind of parallel to my body, not quite center, but just, you know, a little bit to the side. And then I'm bringing it out to the side all the way, and you want to make sure you're getting a nice full range of motion. You don't want to stop short here, but you're going all the way to the floor on the other side. And again, you're bringing it back, not quite to the center, just almost to the center. And then you're going to go all the way out to the side. And as far as the position of the band, you want to make sure that it's right above the chest and just kind of right underneath the collarbone will be the perfect position for that, because that's where the rear deltoid is located on your back. It is a little bit higher on your back. So we want to make sure that where we're pulling from lines up with where the muscle is located. Okay, so again, it's that simple, and we're going to do a full set here in a second. Now, when it comes to the resistance, I really want you guys to challenge yourself. If you can do this movement and it feels real easy, or you're using a real easy tubing and you feel like you can do like 30 of them no problem, it is not challenging enough for you, and it will take you forever to build strength and to see change. So I really want you to challenge yourself, because even though a lot of these movements are designed for people with limitations and disabilities, although anybody can do them, they would benefit anybody, but you still need to challenge yourself if you want to see change. So again, don't grab the lightest tubing possible right away. Grab one that is a little thicker and make yourself work a little bit. It should feel a little bit uncomfortable. Well, by the end of the set, where you get to 10 or 15 repetitions, you are feeling the fatigue set in. All right, so this arm is going to be straight out to the side, and let's go ahead. We'll do 10 repetitions. So I'm just going to grab this right here. It's not hitting the door. And we're going to go all the way out to the side, and then we're going to release right next to my body. And remember, you're still keeping that belly button pulled in nice and tight. The rest of my body is staying completely stable. As I'm bringing it down, I'm breathing out and in as I release. Because when I'm bringing it out, that is the contraction phase. And then when I'm releasing, that is the releasing phase. And so remember, when we're actually contracting the muscle, that's when we breathe out. When we're releasing, getting ready for the next repetition, that's when we breathe in. And remember, your movements are nice, slow, and controlled. You always want to make sure you have nice, controlled movements. You don't want to be flopping it around like this or anything like that. Control the band. Don't let the band control you. All right, let's go ahead and we'll switch to the other side so you can kind of get a visual of what it looks like coming your direction. And so I'm holding this band straight out to the side with this arm like this. My elbow's just slightly bent, almost completely straight. And I'm starting just right parallel next to my body, not quite the center line, but just right next to it. And again, I'm bringing it all the way out to the side, and I'm breathing in and out as I do the movement. And our belly button again is staying pulled in nice and tight. We're going to talk about breathing. I do want to discuss a little bit of diaphragmatic breathing at the end of the workout today, as something that you can practice to breathe from your diaphragm as opposed from your chest. And that is something that will help, to also make a difference in your ability to get in more oxygen. And it's just a more natural way for your body to breathe. So keeping that belly button in, our movement is slow and controlled. Our alignment is right above our chest and right underneath our collarbone. And again, by the time you get to 10, 15 repetitions, you should feel like a burning sensation, kind of a fatigue setting in, where it's starting to get a little difficult for you to finish the set. But obviously you push yourself to finish the set because that's the only way that you're going to get stronger. I'm going to do a real quick frontal view for you guys. And because unfortunately I only have one camera and one angle because I'm filming by myself, so I can't get every angle. But that's okay. And so from a bird's eye view, if you're looking down from the ceiling, the movement would look like this, where again your arm is just right next to your body, and this arm is all the way out to the side. This arm is just beginning right here, and we're pulling it all the way out to the side like that. And as you can see, it's right above the chest and right underneath the collarbone. Okay, so that's kind of a good bird's eye frontal view, so you can make sure that you're performing that movement appropriately. All right, we're going to set these down for now, and I'm going to lay back down. All right, our next movement is going to be awesome for strengthening the abdominal muscles. And as you know, I talk about the transverse abdominis a lot, and this particular exercise is going to help you to learn how to engage your transverse abdominis while you're doing a movement. So as opposed to just the isolated where you're holding it in for 5 seconds, although you should still be practicing that every day, we're going to make it a little more challenging by forcing you to have to keep that contraction while there's movement going on in the lower part of your body. So there's a few different ways to do this, and I'll demonstrate each way. The most modified, the easiest way is going to be bringing one leg up and bring it in as far as you can, and then you're going to release, and then you're going to lift your other leg. And the goal of this movement is to keep that belly button pulled in the whole time and to keep your back from lifting up. So when you release, you're not lifting your back up. When you arch your back up, your back is now taking on the majority of the strain, and the transverse abdominis is no longer engaged. That is the opposite of what we want. We want the transverse to be engaged. The back, I mean, it will be contributing somewhat, but the transverse needs to be the primary muscle engaged, because remember, we're teaching the muscles surrounding the back how to engage and support and protect the back, so the back's not doing all the work to reduce back pain and again strengthen your posture. So again, this is the modified version, and we're keeping our back down nice and firm, and we're consciously pulling that belly button in. That version is quite easy, and if it feels challenging for you right now, that's fine, stick with that version. But if that felt real easy for you, then I want you to do the second version of this movement. Okay, so we're going to bring both legs up, but I'm going to have you do it one leg at a time as opposed to both legs, because that will help to keep you from arching your back too much. So we're going to bring one leg down to the floor, and then we're going to lift and release the other leg. And remember, I'm keeping my back down nice and firm throughout the whole movement. Doing this with one leg staying in the whole time does help to keep your back up against the floor, which is why this movement's a little bit second level of modified for this particular exercise. And as far as how low you let your foot go to the ground or to the floor, that all depends again on your ability to keep your back down and from arching. And so say at a certain point of the repetition, no matter how hard you try, how hard you engage that transverse, your back still comes up. That means you've gone too far and you need to reduce the range of motion, and just don't go down as far. And so just stop your range of motion right before your back starts to arch. And again, no matter how hard you're trying, you just can't keep it down. And that's how you know, okay, that's my range of motion and that's where I need to stop. All right, so the most advanced version is doing two legs at the same time. And this is definitely a bit more difficult than the ones that we just did. So again, bringing both legs in one at a time, and that belly button staying pulled in nice and tight. You're going to bring your feet down towards the floor. And again, my back is staying down and stable the whole time. I am not letting it lift. I am keeping it down, and I am using my transverse. I mean, the rectus and obliques, all those muscles are also engaged as well. The abdominal muscles always work as one unit. You can't really isolate one abdominal muscle. You can make one muscle work a little bit harder than the others, but you can never really isolate. They always work together as a unit. So again, I'm just doing my bilateral 2 legs at the same time, and I'm going as far as I can until my back, as long as my back can stay firmly up against the floor and my transverse is able to keep that position. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to do a set of 10 repetitions, and you can do this together with me if you want to. And so I'm going to start with just the middle version of it, and then I'll end with the bilateral. And oh, real quick with the bilateral, if you like, you can also use this ball. Sometimes people aren't quite ready for it, but using the little exercise ball, again, will get you to engage the inner thighs as well as the intra-abdominal muscles will engage even more so. They're already engaged when your knees are together without the ball, but this will just kind of intensify it. So you can try it with the small exercise ball if you want, but if you don't quite feel ready for that, that's okay too, but that's just an option. All right, so I'm going to start with this second level, and you can start with whatever level you feel comfortable with, and we're going to do 10 on each side. Okay, now I'm going to do 5 on each side, and then I'm going to end with the bilateral movement where I'm lifting both legs up and down for those of you that are doing the movement with both legs and you're attempting a little bit more advanced version of that. All right, remember your back is staying down firm. I'm going to go into the bilateral now, but for those of you who are doing the one side at a time unilateral, just go ahead and keep doing that, and you'll continue to do that 5 at a time, or 5 more repetitions on each leg. And we're keeping our back down nice and firm, and we're only going down as far as what our back can handle. We're also keeping our shoulders down. We're not doing this either. We're keeping our shoulders down and relaxed the whole time. And as you release, you're going to breathe out. As you lift, you're going to breathe in, because that's the contraction phase of the movement. All right, and relax. All right, so again, you'll do 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. So you'll start with your hip lift, and then you'll go on to your reverse fly movement, and then you'll go on to your reverse crunch movement, and then you can rest for a second, and then you can do that circuit all over again. So again, just a real easy workout that you can do first thing in the morning, from bed, from the floor, whatever is possible for you. And I'm going to show you how to easily get off the floor with minimal stress on your back. So like we kind of went on our side and rotated, we're going to do the same thing on the way up. So let's rotate our body over to the side. Push yourself up with one hand, and then you'll go ahead and sit up just like that. So with these exercises, it would be a really great routine to maybe start with your floor exercises and then combine your scapular retraction and maybe your little hip rotation movements. And so you can combine these movements into one workout. So there's no rules on, oh, I can only do this day, I can only do this that day. Right now, I am recommending that you do try to perform these exercises every day. That would be ideal. And you might have heard that when you're exercising or doing any type of resistance training, you should do it every other day. And that is correct. But the movements that we're doing right now, they're quite moderate. So we're not doing, real crazy intensity. So it's okay to do these every day because, again, they're great exercises just to get some movement into your body and get that blood circulating and getting your body used to getting some activity in. And my next exercise video is going to be a bit harder. And so in the meantime, if you don't have at least the tubing yet, try to at least invest in the set of tubing. And so again, check out my video, How to Build a Home Gym for Under $50. I'll put a link in the description below. And you can see where you can get these. I think I recently found these for around $8 online. And so that's a really great deal. And we're going to start bumping up the intensity. So again, even though these exercises are modified, I still want you to push yourself to the level that you know you can do. If you know you can do a little bit more resistance, a few more repetitions, or you can do a version I demonstrated that's a little more advanced, I encourage you to try that, because if you don't challenge yourself, then you're not going to see results. It's going to take a long time for you to get strong. But again, keep in mind, and keep it gauged according to what is doable and what is realistic for you. So you do want to feel like you're being challenged, but not to the point where your muscles are going to spasm and you're going to faint and pass out or anything like that. We don't want that. And so, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. And my next video is going to be on exercise and addiction, and how exercise can help people overcome addiction. And this video has a very personal value to me, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as when I do the video. It's going to take a little more editing for me to do that one, and as I mentioned before, I'm technically challenged, and I also have a computer that I got in 2010, and we all know that computer years are like dog years. That's how they age. And so it's really slow, and it takes me a while to edit stuff. But anyway, so I'm going to try to get that video out in the next few days. And then after that, I'll do my next exercise video, and that one again is going to be a little bit more challenging. So if you want to be able to perform them, you need to be practicing what I've already showed you, because I just continue to build from where I'm starting you. I continue to build to get you stronger and progress you so that you can get better and healthier and eventually to where you want to be. All right, if you really enjoyed this video and you found some value to it, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe to my channel so you can continue to get great exercises and great content. And of course, as always, please comment below if there's anything specific that you would like for me to do or talk about or research, so that I can cater this channel specifically to you and what your needs are and what you guys would like to see. So remember, guys, take care of yourself. Always protect yourself physically and emotionally. And remember, your health is your most valuable asset. Invest in it. Bye-bye.